Hello everyone, welcome to the channel.
Welcome to Money Rebel.
Money Rebel!
Woo! Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you a number of quickfire questions. The
Okay.
rules are you get one answer and one sentence to explain.
Okay.
And that's it, and it has to be quick.
Great.
Quick. Right. So are you ready?
Yes.
Good. Amazon or Shopify?
Shopify.
Netflix or Disney?
Disney, I just think they've got a little bit more momentum at the moment.
Okay, great. Green energy or brown energy?
What is brown energy?
I don't know.
Is it like biofuel or something? Green energy
It's
on
like
the basis.
opposite.
On the basis, I don't know what brown energy is. I guess it's oil.
It's like oil, it's all the shit energy.
Dirty
That's
oil.
why it's brown. Right, Bitcoin or Ethereum?
Ethereum.
Okay. UK or US stock market?
Even though I live in the UK at the moment, I'm just going to stick with the US.
No, you've disowned us.
No, I hope that the UK will pick itself up, but it's like,
so
come
dry,
on.
so dry. Next question. Airbnb or booking.com? Come on.
Airbnb.
Airbnb.
Easy. I don't know why I thought about it.
I don't know. Growth or value investing?
Oh, growth, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. One sentence explanation?
Because I'm a long-term investor. I like to invest for sort of 5+ years, and I just find growth companies more interesting than value ones because I'm really into innovation. And I like.
That's more than a sentence. Let's go. Great. Track a fund or pick your own stocks?
Oh, pick your own stocks for sure.
Yeah, I feel like that was an easy question.
Yeah. I feel like I don't think it's, as long as you follow some sort of simple rules, it's not too difficult to beat the average of the market, I think anyway. And that's what my experience for the last 5 years of investing. So yeah.
Yeah. And Tesla or Neo?
Oh, Tesla. Yeah.
Is that because we own Tesla?
Yes.
Basically. And last question, to buy or to sell right now?
I mean, like, it feels so bubbly, but I'm of the philosophy that generally speaking, I'm always invested in the market. So I'm not selling anything and still buying. So even though I appreciate there may be a correction around the corner, but that's just another buying.
Yeah. Should we talk about that a little bit? I know we've gone quick. Let's have a slightly longer question on that one because I think it's worth exploring that a little bit more. So when you say it feels so bubbly, I'm guessing you're not talking about Prosecco, although we love some Prosecco. What do you mean by that?
So what I mean by that is it seems like evaluations have really run up. We're paying like really expensive prices for the best companies, There's a valuation called price to earnings, and I'll unpack that in another video. But basically, they're really high at the moment for a lot of these really high growth companies. So people are like, so there is actually a lot of people taking money out of the stock market because of that, and just putting it into fixed income stuff like bonds. But I'm still okay with leaving it in because I'm a long-term investor, and I think if you invest for a long period of time, those corrections just end up being little blips, and then eventually they kind of fade away. And I just don't think it's worthwhile trying to time the market because nobody knows for sure no matter what people tell you.
I think that's wise.
Yeah.
Good wisdom there, Cameron.
What would you do?
What would I do?
Buy or sell right now?
Buy or sell right now? Well, right now I'm buying just because I've got a little bit of... basically, before I met Cameron, I had all of my money just in my savings account. Actually, it wasn't even my savings account. It was in my current account, which is not the best way. So, I married Cameron.
You should have a little bit to live on, obviously.
Yeah.
You need what you need to live on.
Yeah, exactly. But not all of your savings in your current account, probably not. And I married Cameron, and he was like, what are you doing with your money? This is not good. So I've been progressively finding companies to invest in and just increasing my investment portfolio. It's still small, but it's growing. So for me right now, it's definitely buying. But that's quite circumstantial rather than to do with the market specifically. But I'm also a cam on long-term investing rather than just investing to try and play the market because you can never really predict that too well.
Yeah.
So that's my take on it.
That's very wise. Yeah, that's a really important point. It's important to remember that when you invest, if you need that money really soon, then you shouldn't be investing that money. Anything if you have a big purchase coming up in the next couple of years, I'd caution putting a lot of money into the stock market. But if you perhaps saving for retirement or whatever it is, then that's definitely a great way to go. Yeah, long-term investing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So next question for you, Cam. What's the reason behind investing? So for a lot of my life, I've kind of gone, well, I was fortunate enough to be able to buy a house, and then I haven't really thought about investing. I've got my company pension, so I was like, yeah, kind of good. I don't really need to think about whether my money's maximising itself, etc. But then I met you, and I think you've got a really interesting take on it sounds fairly basic, but I think it's interesting to unpack here around why invest.
Yeah, so it's a great question. So I just think we can get so much more out of our money if we have an investing mindset, and this conventional wisdom is so you put it in a savings account and you save it up, or maybe you put it in some pension fund which will give you some money. But I really think the risk reward ratio of very conservative investing is not in your favor. So if you have it in a savings account, you're probably losing money because the interest rate's probably higher than your savings rate, which is why you shouldn't have too much money sitting in a savings account just on its own.
But in terms of life and what it brings you, let's maybe take that angle.
Oh yeah, sure. So if you get enough invested, you can start to get passive income off your investing, which is great. And there's a number of ways you can do that. And then once that happens, then it really begins to free you up. And a lot of big life decisions about where you live, what you do in life, it can feel really dictated to us because we need that money to live. We need that job to live or to pay the bills. And it's risky for us to stop. Or if you're in a job that you don't enjoy, you're like, oh, I can't leave it because I don't know if I can get another one. But if you've got some investing income, then it can really help you give you freedom to take more control of how you spend your life. And it certainly helped me. I went through a period without work, and that investing income actually sustained me through that time. It means I didn't need to borrow any money. And actually I ended up doing really well. I actually ended up with more money than what I'd started with, despite the fact that it was paying me a little salary to kind of keep myself alive, just through the power of investing and compounding interest. So yeah, it just really frees us up really and gives us more options in life.
Yeah, so it's basically around freedom.
Is that what about you? What do you think? Why do you invest?
So for me, it's exactly that, and it's something that I just had never really thought about, because you grew up and you go to school and your parents talk to you about money, and you just have a really set view of well, I'm okay, my goal should be to buy a house, to retire well, all of those things. So I think I just bought into that conventional money wisdom of okay, that's great, I'm doing well on all of those indicators. And then I met you, and you were talking to me about actually you can get a passive income, and I was like, that is really interesting, because it just frees you up to do stuff that you would never be able to do. So once we get to that point, we're not there yet, but we'll be able to just go, right, let's just go traveling for a year because we still have an income coming in.
Yeah.
And I think that's the bit that clicked for me, where I was it's about freedom, and it's about us, time's such a limited commodity.
Yeah.
And it's about us being able to say, how do we want to use our time? And it's not just traveling, using it for ourselves. It's also what about supporting other people, doing charity work? It just frees up so much more choice when you can do that than just being I'm going to spend the best years of my life working in a job that maybe I love it, maybe I don't. If you love your job, stick at your job, it's great. Yeah. But you might get to a point where you don't love it anymore and you're actually I just want to leave. And that's what investing enables you to do.
Yeah. You just answered so much more eloquently than I did. But basically everything she said.
So this was Money Rebel with Anna and
Cameron.
Thanks so much for joining us. We love talking to you. And if you liked it, subscribe, review, rate. Hang on, what other things? What was I meant to say?
I'll put
subscribe.
Subscribe right there. Money rebel, be a money rebel, yeah. Money rebel, be a money rebel, yeah. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, I'm gonna write the theme tune, sing the theme tune.